Grand Rising, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Friday, May 2nd, 2025. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first two cards in our 5-card spread? First two cards we are starting our day off with today are, I am not surprised to see these cards. These cards should look familiar because they have been popping up in our reads the last few days like wildfire. We have here the 9 of Wands in its upright in combination with the Justice card in its reversal. Working through, I keep on seeing there's a lot, and I think the reason we're having so much of this heart opening that's happening right now is due to the fact that Mars has moved into Leo. There's a lot of work I keep on seeing that's happening right now as it relates to navigating sensitive subjects, working through a lot of sensitivity. But, and we've been talking a lot about this in the readings recently, what is the difference between healthy spirituality and bypassing, right? When we're in a space of bypassing, we don't want to navigate anything that feels energetically uncomfortable, right? It's a lot of this, like, it's earmuff energy. You just close your ears and you just go, bah, bah, bah. You know what I mean? It's a lot of that. But when we're working on something, right? When we're really working in that space of trying to fix something, trying to heal something, it allows for that adaptability. It allows for that point of pragmatism. Because, and again, what is often the thing that you hear that demarcates a healthy healing journey? It's not about me. It's not about you. Right? This is what we mean when we talk about unattachment or non-attachment. Non-attachment is not the same as disassociation, because disassociation is the articulation of saying, I don't care, I don't feel, right? Unattachment is the definition of what is important, that allows for the things that are not important to move away from the self, right? It's like that. It's that work of shedding and refining the layers of the self that help us get deeper into the heart of the things that have meaning. And that's why I keep on seeing that a lot of the work, what's separating this Taurus season from a lot of other Taurus seasons that we've experienced is, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that, and I got to say this, my heart goes out to those with Taurus placements right now, because with so many planets, much like I was saying the same thing, and my heart was going out to those Pisces who just went through their season at a time when all the planets were yo-yoing back and forth on the meridian of their sign. Right? A lot of abandonment wounds potentially being triggered at that time. For those with Taurus placements, it could be feeling like there's a lot of red flags everywhere because of all of the profundity of the planets that are moving into Aries, right? It's like everything, it's like triggers everywhere. But what is important, and we talk about this, when we see triggers, but we don't act on them, we see ourselves more clearly, right? And so it's a lot of, that's why I keep on hearing that this is the Taurus season with the lessons of the Stoic heart, because what you see outside the self can be heartbreaking, but it doesn't break you, right? It builds into that context of recognizing and identifying what it is that is important, right? It's a lot of that work in the space of perseverance and what it takes to get there. Now, this is occurring right now for all of the frequencies, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, starting with the energy and separation right now. There it is. I got to tell you guys, and if you missed yesterday's podcast, make sure that you head over to our Substack and go take a look at yesterday's spread, because we just pulled the Devil card in its reversal. And this is very intriguing because this same card was in our reading yesterday, deeper, right below where it is now. So there's a lot of healing right now. There's healing moving up and down the frequencies. But the healing is coming via the determination it takes to find stabilization during a heart opening. And what do you need when you find stabilization during a heart opening? You don't react to it, right? Because when you have a heart opening, the first thing that comes out is often the pain that you're carrying. But when you don't react to it, you articulate through it, you effectively heal it. So, and I just keep on seeing there's some energy right now that has reached a point where instead of reacting to something, they're talking about it. And even there, they're like, almost like apologizing. I keep on hearing this energy that's almost like for the energy in separation, be like, sorry if I sound annoyed when I'm talking about something. And I almost hear the energy in separation going, no, the annoyance that you're expressing is absolutely refreshing. Why? Because it's a relief when someone says, thank you for letting me know you feel that way. We often say it's a relief because it's recognizing someone who talks through what they feel instead of going off the deep end, is what I keep on hearing. And this is what happens, right? This is what we talk about working in the context of not self-sabotaging. It's not easy. Do you think people want to self-sabotage? No. The song you hear as you self-sabotage is I'm terrified. Right? Because it's letting energetic fear get the better of you. It's letting anxiety win out to a certain extent. So that's why I keep on seeing that there's and I think that this is really important because I just keep on hearing that a lot of the energy right now in separation is like it's saying to me, it's irascible, right? It's like, it's saying they're working through, moving towards their manifestation because they've gotten the ick for something. And this is why I keep on describing it as being magician energy because they're looking for authenticity. They're looking for authentic connection. And so what are they doing? They're becoming sick of being someone that they're not, right? Seek and you shall find. The journey of a healthy manifestation is not what you look for, it's who you become on the journey of arriving there. So that's why I keep on seeing that there's something very refreshing in some of these new relationships that are happening. There's something I want to say, and I want to describe it as the energy feels like they're being humble, but they're actually being majestic. Because I just keep on seeing the energy that is coming towards each other with the exhaustion of the nonsense of feeling like they have to perform the act of the self instead of just being in authenticity. Like, why I keep on hearing the energy say, like, why can't we just skip to the good part? And so like that's why I see the gift of this energy right now is they're almost like it feels like a little bit of like an old friend kind of vibe, right? Because they're getting to know each other in like authentic ways. And it's difficult because they're still feeling triggered, right? But what are they saying as they're moving towards one another? Rejection is an illusion. If someone sees you in your authenticity, and remembering this doesn't mean that you're slacking, right? It doesn't mean that you're just not trying. But if you are proud of the things that you're doing, then you celebrate the ability of showing another who you are, and you let go of the expectation or the anxiety of how another person receives it. Because we talked a lot about here that when we're moving into the context, and this is why we mean unattachment, if I have no control over how you feel about me, except for confusion, if the only feeling that I generate in you is confusion, because I can always bring the relief of understanding to it, then that is the energy that's remembering their own energetic commitment to themselves, not feeling like they need to bend over backwards and try to change into something they're not to meet another's expectations, because that's an impossible race, right? You can't please everybody. Now, for masculine and feminine coming into divine union, Two cards to clarify. This is what I told you. This is just to show you, these are not qualitative in terms of one being better or worse. The energy right now coming into divine union, going through what feels like a breakthrough and a breakdown simultaneously. Yep, there it is. World card. Yep. World card in its reversal in combination with the Four of Swords in its upright. I keep on hearing the violence of peace, right? This is what we talk about when we talk about making peace, because everything I keep on seeing for the energy that is coming into divine union, this is the energy saying, how are you doing? I've never been better. But at the same time, I'm an absolute mess. Why is the energy saying I've never been better? I'm an absolute mess, because they're going through the process of finally being able to heal something that they've been carrying for a long time. Didn't even know they were carrying it, right? These are old wounds rising to the surface. The body keeps score, right? And so when we find, this is why we heal. We don't heal from trauma to make room for more trauma. That's easy, right? Trauma begets trauma. But when we're healing from trauma, we find peace. But then the work begins. All of that stuff we've been carrying. So I just keep on seeing that this is a lot of, and I keep on seeing that this is the beauty, the partnerships. And I'm going to tell you right now, if someone's not ready for that, they may fall back into separation if they're acting out and they're replaying. Because this is what we do, right? When we start replaying the traumas and the triggers from the past, when we react to it, we bring the past with us, like into the sanctum, right? But when we articulate through it, when we sing to it, right? When we speak about it, we allow another person to be able to embrace us as we do, and thereby we're able to heal from it. So I keep on seeing that, and I'm going to tell you right now, I wish I could say that these were situations where, I want to say, every time I keep drawing for the energy right now, coming into divine union, I keep on getting 3 out of 4 ain't bad, which is saying to me that a good portion of that energy is maintaining into the energetic consistency. There are some situations where I see some energy falling back out of separation because they weren't ready to maintain that frequency. Right? But this is why I think that this is beautiful, because I keep on getting the message that a majority of it is holding stable in that energetic space. That brings us to, the energy that is deep within divine union right now. And there we've got the 9 of Wands in its upright in combination with our Justice card in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification. There it is. I like that Chariot card. I love seeing this Chariot card popping back up. We had it yesterday. I want you to make sure if you're looking, if you've been following along, I would definitely encourage you to go look at yesterday's spread in combination to today's spread, because we're seeing a lot of the same cards, but not just the same cards. The same cards in the same direction, which says, I told you, there's a lot of this work that we're navigating right now as it relates to the gift of being energetically consistent. And this is why I also see that there's a lot of that work that also articulates upon non-attachment, right? Because when I keep on getting the space when, this is the difference I keep on hearing between, and it's actually interesting because this was coming in even before I started the reading. The difference between waiting and patience is identified with work, right? When you're waiting for something, it implies that you're not doing anything, right? It's not an activation energy, right? And that's why when we're in relationships, and we can often articulate something is energetically wrong when we feel like we're waiting for something to change. That's outside of the self, right? It's like it's a sedentary state. We never wait in manifestation. We're patient in our manifestations. Now, what is the difference between waiting and patience? Patience is working through frustration, Okay? Patience is identifying, and again, it's putting in that energetic space. It's seeing, and all of these lessons I told you, and it's actually interesting because I told you it has to do with a little bit of the misconception that those around Aries are with Aries in the space of patience. Okay? Aries don't like waiting for things, right? Often Aries are articulated as being impatient energy. It's not the case. Aries, and I'll challenge you, go find yourself an Aries, right? Aries don't like waiting for things to change so they don't see a progress to them. Aries are incredibly patient when they see that the patience is paying off, right? Aries are often involved in the spaces of identifying the sacred breath. Okay? And what is the sacred breath? Do that again. Wait, no, do that again. No, do it again. Do it again. Because when we are patient, right? And we're towards progress, we are becoming, then that is the manifestation that is activating, because that is the perseverance that is required to create change. So that's why we see here, like a lot of the messages that we're having as it relates to like Aries is saying, make no mistake. It's not that Aries lacks patience. It's that Aries has a very refined taste as it relates to seeing observable change, not waiting for energy. Aries will never wait. Aries are like, this is a waste of my time, because a lot of Aries come here working against Saturn, right? Like Aries often come here feeling like they're battling Saturn. Aries are like, I don't have time for this, versus them going, wait, do that again, right? No, do that. There's something there, right? There's something that's changing, right? The ability of identifying and recognizing progress and the patience that it takes as we persevere towards our manifestation goals. And this is why I keep on hearing, for the energy right now, I can almost hear the counterparts talking to one another. And what are they saying to one another? Never waiting, always patient. Never waiting, always patient. Because when we wait for things, when we are in relationship and we feel like we're waiting for something, guess what? You're holding a recipe for bitterness. Would you like to see my recipe card for how to create bitterness? This is your recipe card for how to create bitterness. Be in a relationship where you're waiting for something that you haven't articulated upon. I guarantee you, give it a few weeks. Put it in a dark room. You're going to have bitterness. You're going to have a whole lot of bitterness, right? But this is why I hear the partners, the counterparts saying to one another, never waiting, always patient. Because when we're patient with one another, right, we identify the progress. We identify what we're building towards. We see that incremental work. And that is that energy, that is the commitment of the counterparts working in those temperance, right? What are the lessons of temperance? These are all connected to the Taurus energy. Never waiting, always patient. Not waiting for things to change that seem like they're not going to change. Identifying where the work is and continuing to put that power of persistent pressure, moving things in the directionality that you aspire to move them. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, why do I hear never waiting, always patient? Because the reason the energy is having the ability to navigate the trauma that they're storing, it's not happening. It's never going to happen again, right? And often, like, that's why we need to be, this is why the body holds on to some energy. It holds on to some pain, often without us even realizing it. Because you can't heal on a battlefield. It's not safe. The body's like, I'm sorry I have to give you now. I'm sorry I have to take this. I'm sorry this has to arrive now. It seems like it's an inconvenient time. but it's because it's a safe time. And this is why we heal. We don't heal to be able to take on more trauma. We heal to navigate what comes out of us once we find the peace, all of that stuff we've been holding on to be able to start that sorting process. And that's why I keep on seeing that what's beautiful about this for a lot of the energy, coming into divine union, you know, talking to it, talking through it instead of reacting to it. That is how we maintain a consistent vibration. That is how we hold into the constancy, because that is the energy that says, this isn't a fluke. This is reality. That was the fluke. This is the good part. This is the stabilization point. That is not what I exist within. So when we find that stabilization point, what do we say? We say, stay, like when the trauma comes out, we say, stay behind me, right? That's in the past. So I see that a lot of that energy is working in that space of feeling the embrace of the counterpart that helps them build into the present, that lets them, reminds them that whatever's coming out is something that is behind them, not before them. Continuing to get clarification. And in the moment that they realize that, then they're able to energetically heal. While for masculine and feminine energy that is in separation, I just keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy in separation right now, that is in separation, I just keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy in separation right now, to working through and navigating. And this is why I think it's really interesting, because I just keep on seeing that a lot of this energy right now in separation is, I just want to describe it. It's like they're getting the ick, right? When you're having a healthy manifestation, it doesn't require you to disassociate. It doesn't require you to feel less. It requires you to feel more. And so I keep on seeing a lot of this energy right now. There's some energy in separation that's just saying, I can't take it anymore. I'm not going to do it. And this is why they're finding one another, because that ability of saying, I'm just not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be, and the higher self goes, you're just going to do what? I'm just going to be me, right? And it's that energy that goes, were you about to say you were just going to be me? Were you about to say, like, the higher self goes, were you just about to say you're going to be me, right? Because in that moment, the higher self goes, why weren't you doing that in the first place? Why weren't you doing that in the first place, right? The higher self says, finally. Because when we stop trying, we start being, and that's our becoming. Continuing to get clarification between our Justice card in combination with our Devil card in its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify, please? Clarification coming through right now with our Moon card. And this is, I just need, and I like to point this out, right? And this is why I keep on seeing that the energy right now in separation is in Magician energy. And I know it's going to sound a little paradoxical. What are they moving away from? The Magician energy is moving away from illusions. The energy in separation is moving away from illusions, right? It's the understanding, like, listen, here's the simple truth. You want that person? You can have anything you want. The question is not about what you want. It's about what it feels like when you get there. It's about what it feels like when you get there, right? A healthy manifestation is not one that you say, gimme. A healthy manifestation is one that you say to the universe, help me see. Help me find the thing I'm looking for, right? Because often we can tell those journeys where we say, I thought that was the person. I thought that was the thing. But then you're off the path when you say, I was in a moment I couldn't recognize myself. Right? And this is why I keep on hearing that there's like a lot of energy and separation and deep conversation with the higher self that says, remember, moving towards your divine counterpart will never make you feel like you are lost. It'll make you feel like you are found. It won't make you say, who am I? It'll make you say, there I am. And so that's why I keep on seeing that a lot of this energy even at this moment, I see some of this energy even contending with situations or circumstances. And I keep on stressing this. And this is why I feel like this could be a little bit of a final blow moment for some of these partnerships. If these energies are finally separating away from a situation and moving towards, and only in that moment someone brings forth the thing that they've been asking for, this is the energy that says that manifestation shouldn't be offered as a conciliation only when someone's in the midst of a breakdown. It shouldn't be used as a bargaining chip. A healthy manifestation isn't a bargaining chip. It's a commitment. But someone who dangles it will offer it like a bargaining chip. But that's why I keep on hearing that energy that says manifestations are not bargaining chips. They're not to be negotiated upon. They're about being worked towards mutually together. So I keep on seeing, I see a lot of closing out of cycles right now and a lot of new authentic ones opening. Continuing to get clarification for the energy coming into divine union between our devil card in its reversal and the world card in its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify, please? Woof, there it is. Page of Pentacles in its reversal. Right? Now, this is why, right? I told you all of the frequencies are in communication and relationality to the lessons that they work through. And this is why what is happening right now, this is the energy coming into divine union that finally has that solid ground. Right? They finally building into, when we find that solid ground, when we feel that force of what it is that we create for one another, right? Like, this is why I see that a lot of this energy is profoundly healing at this time, because often the problem with being in a traumatic space is you didn't know how good it could be. Right? When the good feels so energetically foreign to what it is that you've experienced or known, this is why it's so hard to heal from heavy trauma spaces. Because this is the energy, like, what is the first thing you say as you embark on the healing journey? What is the first thing you will say? If I'd only known. Right? So that ability of finding that solid ground, that's sometimes the thing that triggers the heart opening. That's where all that stuff comes out. And it starts and articulates with the point of saying, if I'd only known. So the recognition, right? The insight. And this is what begins the healing process, because you cannot be hard on yourself. You cannot be hard on yourself. And this is what the higher self articulates over and over again. You cannot punish yourself for something that you did not know. But that's why we always do that work of identifying and pushing against our comfort zone. Do you see here? This is why we have to work in accordance to that. That's why we always have to lean out, like pushing ourselves a little further. Because what you will say when you heal is, if I'd only known. And you only know if you're able to identify and push out a little bit on your comfort zone, right? Again, not outside of the context of the higher self, not moving out of accordance or out of alignment with the self, but recognizing the difference between what is comfortable that keeps you, that you hold on to from a sense of fear, versus what you hold on to because it helps you understand and see yourself with more clarity. While continuing for the energy deep within divine union right now between our world card in its reversal in combination with our 3 of Swords in its upright. One card to clarify. There's that Empress card in its reversal. A lot of this work that I'm seeing here, a lot of this energetic, it is having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. And I keep on seeing the thing about, like, a lot of this work that we're doing in relationality to the heart space right now. For masculine and feminine, it's taking on different qualities and characteristics. Remember, I kept on saying that the thing about the lessons right now is they're asynchronous, right? They're all working through the same lesson, like the lesson of the Stoic heart, but it's having different it's bringing out different qualities and characteristics between masculine and feminine. For masculine, this is not holding the perspective of masculinity outside of the self, but reclaiming it. You know, I almost see here that there's a lot of this energy here reclaiming what it means to be within one's own energetic frequency. And that's why I keep on hearing masculine. I almost feel like the higher self of masculine is saying saying, what made you believe someone had to teach you how to energetically be yourself, right? There's working in terms, I keep on hearing, there's working in terms of understanding. I keep on hearing there's working in terms of understanding the journey of responsibility. Like these are the things we teach, the values, right? But the segmentation or the separation of emotion is what I keep on seeing that the masculine is trying to claim here. Because I just keep on seeing the masculine saying, as long as I'm articulating upon my feelings and not reacting to them, then it is safe for me to be in them, because I create the safety of being able to contain them and know how to express them. But when someone tells me to deny that I have them, I never let myself feel them. And then when they hit me with, I am powerless against them, is what I keep on hearing, right? This is the masculine that feels that I can almost feel the masculine and feeling the anger of never being allowed to feel something, because the only way you learn to get stronger in something is by embracing it, not pretending that it's not there, right? It's the difference between embracing and suppression. While for feminine, I see that there's a lot of the feminine energy that's working in that same context that says, my emotions are not an energetic burden to someone that wants the same things as me. But if someone doesn't want the same manifestation as me, they're going to say that I'm a nag, right? They're going to say, like, that's what it's going to say. Like, you're going to sound like a broken record, and you will, right? If someone has a different manifestation from you, and you're always articulating that something is wrong, that it doesn't seem like you're moving in accordance to it, what is the song you'll hear? You're making problems where problems don't exist. Because what is the song? Get used to this. Get used to this. Get used to this, right? Well, this is why we see there's no getting used to anything deep within divine union, because combination between our chariot and the moon card in its upright, 3 of Cups in its upright, the sacred breath of union, is never getting used to anything. It's celebrating where something is. It is the need that's met with progress, right? It is the feeling of always being patient and never waiting, because you're not waiting for something that is not there to be there, right? You're not waiting for the rock to turn into a tree. You're constantly changing it. You're constantly adapting. You're in your Gemini energy, right? You make those, you see with clarity where it is that you're going, and it brings out the best in each other, right? It's a lot of that, like, continual change, always patient, never waiting, continuing to get clarification between our moon card and our Page of Pentacles in its reversal. That brings us to the Hermit energy in its reversal. That's exactly it. Always patient, never waiting. Always patient, never waiting. Because, and this is the Aries energy that's helping us right now, and this is happening through the frequencies. I like it. Aries is back again. Aries is like, I'm back. Because you were there, and it was gone again, and now the energy's back in Aries. But this is the difference. Again, I keep on hearing Aries saying, like, listen, don't get me wrong. Aries are like, I am very patient. Aries takes offended by it. Aries says, I'm very patient. I'm never waiting. Because Aries recognizes a difference between having, because I keep on seeing I keep on hearing the energy of Aries saying, this is why warriors work on surrender, right? Because when you're waiting for something to change from something that it's not, that's delusional. Okay, that's delusion. That's delusion. That is delusional, right? If you're like, I'm just waiting. What are you doing here? I'm just waiting for this mic to turn into a frog. Like, what? But if something's changing, then you're like, I am watching this flower unfurl. This is fascinating, right? It's understanding a lot of the work of Aries. Aries come here with a refined sense of understanding the nature of change, is one that is always patient but never waiting, which means you're patient on your progress, but there has to be progress in order for change to happen. And this is why often those are like, they get frustrated because Aries are like, I'm out of here. Because what does Aries say? I don't have time for this, right? Because Aries is always battling Saturn. They go, I don't have time for this. Okay. Call me when it's ready. Call me when it's ready. I don't want to watch it change. Just tell me when it's happening. Okay. Now, continuing to get clarity, and that's happening through all the frequencies, right? Continuing to get clarification between our page of pentacles. And again, and I feel like this is what's happening right now, because I keep on hearing, and we'll get into it, and this is why I said this might be a little bit of a rough season for Taurus. I keep on hearing Aries saying to Taurus, you could learn a thing or two about this. Is what I'm saying. I mean, this is the thing with Aries and Taurus, because Taurus work more on like Taurus work more on the energy of again, perseverance. So it's interesting. Like it's interesting. Continuing a clarification between Page and Pentacles in its reversal, and Empress energy in its reversal. Yep, there it is. It's just like on cue. On cue, the Emperor shows up. He's like, "You rang? All right, let's talk about it." It's okay. So I got to tell you. It's interesting because I'm getting here that it has a lot to do with how, with how Aries and Taurus relate to time, is what I keep on getting. And I keep on hearing Aries always, I'm not sure where, and this is just, I'm just going to give you what's coming through. Aries is always worried that there isn't enough of it when there's plenty. And Taurus always thinks that it's infinite when it's not, is what I keep on hearing. Right? Like, this is why I feel like there's a conversation right now happening between Aries and Taurus energy in relationality to time. Because Aries is always like, Aries is like, this is the thing. Aries is like the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. Like, Aries are always saying, like, I'm late, like just all over the place. And Taurus energy, Taurus is often like, and that's the thing about it, like Taurus, and I think that there's something beautiful about this, is Taurus is always like, I thought I had more time. I thought, I thought there was more of it. There's like, what I mean? Like, that's, and so I keep on hearing even though these two drive each other crazy, there's a lot that they can learn from one another. So, and this is why, again, and it's interesting because this has become a conversation about what often happens between Aries and Taurus energy. But, and I need to stress this. The way that we navigate this is that it has to do with the property of patience, right? Because, it's like often Taurus, and this is like, Taurus is great when the energy of Taurus, is working in that space where they're I told you so, like pushing themselves a bit more, like stepping out of their comfort zone. But they're saying even stepping out of their comfort zone in the space of time, right? Like, they're almost saying, like, there's something about this here. It has to do with the fact that Saturn is about to cross into Aries too. That's where all this conversation is coming from. So that ability of not working in the space, and I keep on hearing prioritization. The gift of prioritization is remembering that everything can be done in the context of time. The order that we put things in articulates where our energetic priorities are, right? So that's why I keep on hearing that for a lot of the energy of those, like, in that space, like that and this is the thing about it, like, and this is where Aries and Leo is coming in, right? Like, I keep on hearing that's not wrong. But when you recognize that time is precious, you prioritize things in accordance to it, right? Whereas Aries is always trying to do a million things at once, and Aries needs to learn how to slow down and enjoy things once in a while. So I feel like there's a lot of I feel like this is happening right now because there's a lot of conversations. Like, in a nutshell, I would not be surprised if there's a lot of conversations that are occurring right now as it relates to prioritization and time, and working towards working towards goals, working towards what is energetically valuable, and trying to do something, either, again, trying to figure out how to be efficient, because Mercury is just flying right now through Aries to get to Taurus. So trying to figure out better ways of doing things to be more efficient with time, while also identifying and having conversations about the direction that things are going. Continuing to get clarification between our Three of Cups in combination with our Hermit card in its reversal. There's that King of Wands energy in its reversal. Now, continuing to have a conversation on this, let's talk about how it's affecting each of the frequencies. I feel like, and I want to get back to the energy coming into divine union right now. Because as I said, this is some heavy stuff. This is some very heavy stuff for the energy coming into divine union. Because I can just see here, like, there's a lot of that conversation that I'm seeing in relationality to being able to, and I keep on hearing this, like, this is what's so fundamental for some of the energy coming into divine union. And this is often why, when we carry so much trauma, it's important that we're able to heal, because when we find a safe place, it almost feels like it's unreal, right? It almost feels like the unreality that occurs. And that's why in those heart openings, they can feel so profound, because it's the energy that says, if this is real, what was all of that? I didn't know what I was missing, right? It's that moment of understanding and clarity that leads to the heart opening that sometimes is like the wound that you didn't even know you were carrying. Because sometimes, again, we recognize and identify how far we've come, right? This is the energy that suddenly in that moment, right, like, works into the space of the new reality of stability that suddenly makes the past something that needs to be energetically resolved, right? Because that's like, this is often what we have on a healing journey. It goes, if this is what it always could have been, then what the heck was all of that? what the heck was all of that? And then that's when you're like, right? Again, having the patience and healing from what you could not see, right? Having the patience of recognizing what you could not see. And that's why the higher self says, don't be hard on yourself for not seeing something that you like, that wasn't before you, right? Like, that is often the articulation. That is the vibration of reality, of arrival, right? It's I keep on hearing it's arrival energy, because it is the energy that is arriving to the reality of the stability that they found that now allows them to begin the process of healing. So a lot of that work that we see here, but it's hard, because, and this is what's so painful about it. This is why it's so important that when we have a heart opening, we articulate to it and we don't react through it. Because when we're not ready to heal, we experience that stability. And what do we say? This can't be real. This must be an illusion. No, right? Because the body is almost trying to pull us back into the trauma that it was used to, because it can't confront the reality that all of that was pain. So that's why I keep on hearing that a lot of this energy is holding one another as they're disassembling through it and saying, you're safe here. You're safe with me. The embrace of safety says, this is real. That is what you need to heal from, right? And that's hard, right? It's hard. That's the energy says, I didn't even know. This is the energy saying, I didn't even know what I was carrying. I didn't even know, right? Continuing to click. And that's why, again, for the energy coming deep within divine union right now, between our Hermit and our Emperor and its reversal and our Emperor card, there's that 10 of Pentacles in its reversal. It's not ideal. You see the energy? The energy deep within divine union is just working through situations and circumstances that are not ideal. And that's the thing. Like it's giving like the thing with the energy, and this is why the energy deep within divine union, I feel like it's much more operating in the space of working through temperance because, and here's the thing. I keep on hearing messages like with the energy deep within divine union, which is like, again, it's a lot of that. The only way out is through, right? That the way that you bring something into a better space of healing, I keep on hearing the difference between like avoiding something and facing something is recognizing and identifying, like leaning into the energetic discomfort, right? Like it's about shouldering the burden. And that's why I keep on hearing there's like a lot of that energy, like working in the space of majesty, because it's understanding. And this is why I told you majestic energy. This is why we show our shoulders to energy that's in the like Taurus energy is in the space of majesty. And when we show our shoulders, then we do so because we're respective of the weight that another person is carrying, right? And this is the thing. We can be majestic to each other all the time. We might not, I keep on hearing, we might not have to like each other, but we can be majestic to each other all the time, right? I don't need to know what you're carrying, but but when we're in that space that we recognize it, we're mindful about it, is what I keep on seeing. And that's why I keep on seeing like that's a lot of that work. And I keep on seeing that there's a lot of that work in inside or outside, looking at something that one has to heal within or work on without. And a lot of it is I keep on hearing it's working in the space of, and this is why I keep on hearing the healthy relationships that are able to have those heart to hearts, that are able to talk about that work. The gift that you have in a healthy relationship is you can always hash it out. Right? I keep on hearing, you don't save another person. You don't save another person's emotions because you don't need to, because these are the counterparts that are constantly working to energetically improve, right? And that is the energy that is always looking as to how they can do something better, trying to find some way, right? And so I keep on hearing a lot of that energy, like being productive, being creative, because when we stop, like when we are working towards the higher self, we don't say it has to be that way. What do we say? Help me see. Help me see, right? Now, for a lot of the energy, and this is why the counterparts adore one another, because they look to one another and say, you help me see, right? That's what we find in the energetic embrace of divinity. While for masculine and feminine energy in separation, I just keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy in separation, working in the context of the self, this is the energy that says, I am not a mess, I am a masterpiece, right? And this is what is so hard. This is why I see that for a lot of the energy in separation, working through this is difficult, because I just keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy working in the context of this space, right? When we embody and we embrace our own masterpiece, it's not that there aren't things about ourselves that we don't wish that we could perfect or change, but we see those flaws and we work on them so that they can become facets, so that they can become even more wonderful. Because when we try to be someone we're not, we're bound, we always feel like we're going to effectively not succeed. Right? We're always going to be in that space that we feel like we're not meeting the energetic expectation. But when we bring that within, when we love our masterpiece, when we work on what we're creating, right? I just keep on seeing that there's a lot of this energy, both masculine and feminine, they're encountering one another and they're working very hard to be in their authenticity, right? And this is why we talk about this in the class I teach on the magician, which you can find in the Tarot Church class program. But the position, that the interesting hand position that we find that the magician holds is one that they reach up, right? They're effectively reaching up for the higher self and they're holding back the ego, right? Because that is working on the space of not being too hard on themselves as it relates to trying to move towards the virtue of the higher self, while at the same time not allowing the fear and the anxiety of the ego to overwhelm their own ability to navigate. And it's in that moment that you get like the energy goes like, ta-da, this is me. Because that's where when we are good with ourselves, that is where we exist at all moments, right? We're operating within the presence of our own majesty. And when we honor ourselves in that space, then we allow others to see us in that, to hold us in that embrace. So we see that there's a lot of energy that's working through that. But the first thing they have to say is rejection is an illusion, right? The song you will hear as you're moving towards your majesty is "You're not my cup of tea," which is beautiful. You shouldn't be everyone's cup of tea. That's a good thing, right? Because in that moment, you understand that the job isn't to be desired by everyone. It's to like, that. What does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Right? And this is what we talk about with unattachment. Unattachment is someone being like, I think you're dumb. That's cool. That's cool. That's all right. You can feel like that. It's okay. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Unattachment doesn't mean I don't care. It means your opinion does not affect my love. I'm going to say that again. Unattachment does not mean you stop caring. Unattachment means your opinion doesn't change, doesn't impact my love. And so I see that a lot of the energy is working on that as they're building towards one another, and moving in that context is helping the counterparts see one another. Because when we stop trying, we start being, and we can recognize each other for the masterpieces that we are. Final card for today's spread, between our King of Wands in its reversal in combination with our 10 of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify. Strength card. It's not easy. I know, it's easier said than done. Okay. Strength card in its reversal. Strength card in its reversal. I mean, it's easier said than done. Okay, let's be honest. I know. It's easier said than done because it's a very vulnerable space to exist, right? It still hurts. It's not, look, you can curse the whole time. Okay. You can curse the whole time, right? It still hurts, right? It still hurts when we experience rejection, but I got to point this out. A heart that hurts is a heart that works, right? This is what we talk about. Stoicism is not about pretending that, no, I don't feel anything. It's great. I'm so healed. I'm so healed. Ow. It's okay. You can say ow, and then you say wow, right? Because it's like that. It's, the reason ow is in wow is because it doesn't stop there, right? It's the expansion point. It's the ability of being able to take, like, a heart that hurts is a heart that works, which is like, yes, the capacity that you're able to navigate pain is equally proportionate to the love that you can maintain, right? It's a lot of that. This is what Stoicism is. It's not about becoming a rock. It's about becoming a wall. Okay. It's about the honor. And this is why I keep on seeing a lot of this. I love Mars and Leo. I mean, personally, but the reason I love Mars and Leo is because Mars and Leo is Braveheart energy. Mars and Leo in Leo talks about the being a love warrior. You know what I mean? Like a warrior of love. What would that look like to live your life being a warrior of love? Right? Being a warrior of love is probably me, a lot of people saying, I don't like you very much. And you going, that's okay. You don't have to like me for me to love you. Right? It's like, yeah, you don't have to like me for me to love you. Because that's, again, you don't have any, when we are energetically released, right? You have no power over how I feel. I have no power or responsibility over how you feel. The only responsibility I have towards you is confusion, which can always be met with clarity. So I just keep on seeing that there's a lot of this energy like working towards one another. And I like this for the energy in separation because I keep on hearing this energy that's moving towards each other almost on bended knee, right? And this is what we mean by bended knee, which is like the energy that says, I'm not trying. This is just who I am. Take me or leave me. And the energy says, I finally see the energy saying, I can finally see you. What I see, like, why are you apologizing for being who you are? You seem exceptional to me, right? Because when we stop being conditional, we start becoming exceptional. Bottom of the deck on today's reading, a lot of this, again, 3 of Wands in its upright. Now, like I said, the difficulty point, again, often with a lot of this heart opening is when we feel a lot, we really want to react through it, right? It's the body's first instinct is to, bah, you know what I mean? Like we want to, that's just the way it is, right? But this is what Stoicism means. Stoicism means observing the flow, right? Watching the water of the self, being intentional as to how one presents it, being intentional as to how one brings it forth. When we control the waters of ourselves, we're able to forge new bridges. We're able to build new paths of clarity and understanding, right? Because when the river of the self is reactive, then the emotions become a wall. They become a limitation point, right? This is why we often talk about when someone's really emotional and they're saying, I'm really, really emotional. I'm honoring my feelings. No, you're not. You're being reactive. And often those who are articulating and saying, I'm honoring my feelings by being emotional, all you're doing is you're creating a wall around you, a fortress of solitude that no one can permeate because you're so in your emotions. All you can hear is the roar of your own emotions. You can't hear the sea outside of the self. So when we quiet ourselves, when we are in a space that we allow ourselves to feel the things we feel, and we say to ourselves, I'm safe in feeling them, I have the capacity to contain those waters, we're able to hear what the emotions are asking for. And not only that, we're able to hear others' emotions as well. This is why we talk about when we lower the egoic shield, we start to see things with better clarity. Because that's the energy that we often look back and go, I couldn't see something. Why? I was too, what were you too? I was too, you were too emotional at the time. The emotions, when not conducted properly, will blind you from what is effectively occurring. So I just keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy, working in that space, feeling the things they're feeling, learning to communicate through them. This is a lot of the energy that's saying across all of the frequencies, I'm safe within my feelings, right? Because when we stop reacting to the feelings and start saying that we're safe within them, we're able to honor them, not by doing what they ask, but serving the energetic need that their plea is, right? Because if the emotions are like children, the only thing they can predicate upon is what they've known, right? So we just see even now that a lot of that energy and a lot of that space is, and this is what's happening across all the frequencies. Now, for a lot of the energy right now in separation, this is allowing the ability of the ideal counterpart to recognize one another. Because when we stop acting and we start being, the divine counterpart can see us. While the energy coming into divine union, this is why it feels so destabilizing right now, because this is the energy I keep on hearing. Never have they felt so stable, and now the waters are rushing out. Because the energy, they didn't realize they've been holding back that whole time because it's not safe to express something. The body sometimes holds the trauma in until it feels like we're in a sanctuary so that it can finally bring it forward. And that's why I keep on hearing that a lot of the energy is holding one another and saying, it's not happening again. You're experiencing it for the first time because you couldn't until this point. Reminding each other again. And unfortunately, and this is what happens, this is why sometimes we self-sabotage, because if we've never experienced peace before and we move into it for the first time and all we has experienced is trauma, the peace feels like an illusion. But that's why, and again, if we start to react to it, it becomes an illusion, because if you start reacting in that way, you brought the trauma into the piece, right? And this brings us into the energy deep within divine union. And that's why I keep on hearing the energy, again, coming into divine union, saying, I'm safe to feel the things I'm feeling. The things I'm feeling doesn't mean that it's happening again. They're coming back up because it's finally safe for me to heal them. While for masculine and feminine, deep within divine union, I just keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy deep within divine union, it's just working through the paradox of Taurus. And the paradox of Taurus is often navigating the paradox of comfort, which is to say that when we're working on things that are vulnerable, it's more of the conversation between the difference between stubbornness and tenacity, right? And if you're ever feeling a little lost as to whether something you're holding is stubborn or tenacious, I want you to remember this, okay? And this is what the counterparts are saying deep within divine union, right? If you're holding on to something and you're saying, why am I holding on to this, right? The higher self says, let me tell you, right? The conversation that you can have with the higher self helps you see the higher self with clarity. It doesn't create bitterness. It creates profound understanding. When we're being stubborn, we can often start to feel bitter about things, right? And a lot of that bitterness can be articulated with the sense of holding on to something too tightly and saying, and then we say to ourselves, why are you holding on to that so tightly? Because I want to. Because I wanted it to be this way. Well, why did it have to be that way? Because I wanted it to be that way, right? And often, and this is what's hard. Like, the universe wants to help us at every step, but the universe is very patient, right? The universe is the most patient mother on the planet. The universe says, if you want to hold on to that, if you want to just spend the rest of your time holding on to this and being energetically bitter, like, you can do that. It's your time. It's your time. It's your time. If that's what you want to do, knock yourself out. I'll stand with you every step of the moment, right? But again, a healthy manifestation isn't us having a grip on something and saying, make it be this way. It's when we look to the universe and say, help me see. Help me see how I can let go of something. Help me see how I can move in accordance with something. Help me figure out what it is that I energetically need. And that's the energy that'll then, again, when we move towards the universe and say, help me, right? That doesn't create helplessness in us, right? It's not the helplessness that says, save me. It's the energy that says, give me a hand. Okay, give me a hand. Help me have that breakthrough. Help me recognize what it is, why I'm holding on to something, right? And often we allow, how can we start a conversation with anyone until we ask, right? We have to ask in order to energetically receive. So when we start to have that conversation, that is the moment that we start to find things. And so what's beautiful about this is, and I keep on hearing, the energy within divine union looks not only to themselves for that, but they look within the self for that. It's that constant exploration that continually leads to deeper and deeper understanding. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and receiving these messages. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can do so on my site. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my site. Also, I want to give you guys a couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who attended our recent class on the Hanged Man. Our next class will be held on Wednesday, May 14th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies on the tarot with a focus on the death card. It's really not that scary, I promise. We're going to go through the history of the card. We're going to walk through the symbology of the card. I'm going to walk you guys through spread applications, how you can read that card in any direction it may appear in your own readings. And I'll also be presenting you guys a unique spread to help you channel the messages of the death card into your readings. And all you need to do if you would like to become a part of that tarot class program, is mosey on over to my Substack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my Substack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also, as a paid subscriber, monthly subscriber, have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library Archive. Now, it's not necessary to catch up. I'll be doing my best to give you guys updates on everything we've studied prior to beginning those classes. But if you wanted to catch up, now's a great time to join, because you got a few weeks to lead up to that class to be able to bone up on a few of those classes. And if you choose to become a founding member to my Substack, not only will you receive full access to the entirety of the Tarot Church Library, you will also receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, and you will also receive a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, wherein I will assess where you are on your personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best impact moving forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in those classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. You'll also be notified as well as to any new offerings. And speaking about offerings, on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my clients seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits. Also, for my clients seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to now offer dream interpretation readings, which can be purchased on an individual level per dream or as a series. If you purchase the dream interpretation reading, I would encourage you to make sure that you start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. That said, I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow.